Hello, class. My name is Lewis Kennedy, and today I will be reviewing one of my old programming assignments that I had to do for my scripting fundamentals course. Before I dive in, let's read our hash marks. The hashtags are, in programming, programmers use this to keep track of things and to create notes for specific lines of code and also give descriptions for certain objects. So here we can read our descriptions here, the file name, author's name, which is mine, date when it was created. This was created April 6th of last year. And over here, this shows like the description of the assignment, and we could take a minute to read that. Basically, it's telling us we have to create like a encryption decryption program that has to be separated by dashes into letters, etc. And this shows like an example of it, what it's supposed to look like. Now, before I explain each line of code, let's first run it, see if it does its job well. Okay. Now we're presented with a question. Would you like to decode/encode application? Hit yes, because that's what we want to do. Would you like to encode first? Yep. Please enter the text you would like to encode below the line. Let's say that. I'm gonna code this. Okay, and then we got our text encoded. And just to make life easier, we're just going to copy this just at the same time. Then we're going to post this. And here you can see my input has been decrypted, which was Michigan sucks. And then we're asked if we want to encode again. We're going to say no. Then we're presented with a thank you message, which is at the bottom right here. Now, since we ran the code, let me explain what's going on within the code. In my previous videos, I mentioned functions, which are like recyclable pieces of code that programmers use to make their life easier and to make their code look more neat and efficient. Here in the intro, it's responsible for presenting users with the option, would you like to use the decode/encoder application? Here you got your if-else statements where, conditions are set. If user press Y, then it's going to present this message. Awesome. Please select the option, either encode or decode. And we can see that over here. Since we press yes, we'll press Y. Then you can see this. This is responsible for presenting that. Now, if we didn't press Y, then we would have got this message. Hope you will come again soon. Here I made a variable called user_selection. This is responsible for presenting the user's, for holding the user's input for whether or not they want to like to encode or decode. Here you got if user selection equals E, then they're going to get the encode option, the encode function, which you can see here. This is getting called back there. If they don't press that, then they're going to get the decode option, which is the function. Now we have our encode function. Here we made another variable that's going to host that will host the user's strings of characters to encode and decode. Here you can see that string, which is the data type, which it absolutely has to be in. Input, please enter the text you would like to encode. And you can see that here. Please enter the text would you like to decode below the line. This is responsible for presenting this to the user. Now here's kind of tricky. In programming, you got your for loops, which is responsible for going in like a cycle. Here I did for sec, which is like you can create like another variable or like a type of list, which I did here. So for sec and security text, not security text, secret text, which is this, here I made a list for it to go through for the for loop. So there, I reassigned the secret text. The secret text equals SQL text dot replace, which is like a cool feature within Python, which you can use it to replace different characters. This is what I used, and I wanted to replace pretty much any. I did the alphabet here: A B C D E F G, and I wanted to replace any string into like a number, and you can see that here. Replace 11 with A. If a user types in B, it's going to be replaced with 12. If a user types in C, it's going to get replaced with 13. If a user types in D, it's going to get replaced with 14, and so on. That's how you would read it. And then once it goes through the list that I made with the secret text, then it's going to present to the user, hey, your input has been encrypted. And here, we're going to put the variable there, secret text, so it can present the secret text to the user, which is responsible for this. Your input has been encrypted. See? You can see these numbers going into effect with the characters. So since we had Michigan sucks, let's see. Michigan was M. So our input was 23. This is what it got encrypted to. Let's see. I up here, it got replaced to 19. You can see that here for Michigan. And you could go back and forth and cross-reference it, but it's pretty straightforward. Then we kind of did the same thing with the decode, the same thing that we did for the encode function. We did the same thing for the decode function, but instead of it getting swapped with numbers, the numbers were getting swapped with letters to decode it. And then at the bottom here, we have our play again function. This is responsible for asking the user if they want to continue to play or not. And you can see that being taking place here. Do you want to encode again? Yes or no? And you have your condition statements. If user types in Y, then it's going to return it to the main body, which I will explain that in a few minutes. Then if user chooses no, then print thank you for your time and hope you will encode and decode again. And here in my comments, you can see here in my notes, I made a reference key for the professor. And now here's the main body. This is where we will make a list to call back all our functions that we created within the code. So first, we want the introduction to be called back because it's in the appropriate order. And then we got our decode function. I probably passed it, which calls back this. And then we have our play again function, which calls back this line of code to execute. And I think that's everything. This code is pretty straightforward. I had a really fun time creating this. But with that being said, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a nice day.